Hey guys, what's up? My name is Nikki and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read during January and all the books that I would like to read during the month of February. So January was actually a really productive month as far as reading is concerned. I read 9 books. Is that a lot? No. Is that more than I typically read? Yes. So the first book I read during the month of January was actually reading the 3rd book of the From Blood and Ash series, and that is The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I discussed the first 2 books of the series in my previous video, and the 3rd one was no exception to me going crazy. Now the thing is that I can't really talk about the book without spoiling anything, so what I am gonna say is that I absolutely love the series. Poppy is my idol. The male protagonist is Bay. He's one of the hottest male protagonists I've ever read about. Do keep in mind though that there are a lot of romantic, intimate scenes. It is smutty, so make sure that you are of the proper age, let's say. 5 out of 5 rating, nothing else to say, thank you. The next book that I finished, and quite fast actually, is The Sweetest, Oblivion by Daniel Laurie. This is a mafia trope, forced marriage, and enemies to lovers, and haters kind of to lovers. Steamy, spicy. If you're looking for a plot, do not really look for it because there's none. Actually, if you sit down and think about it, it's kind of plotless. It's just romance, okay? It's a mafia romance, and the point is mafia. Nothing else. I read it. I don't know why I read it. If you're looking for just a romance book without any specific topic or plot, and you're just seeking the romance and the spiciness, that's your book. Next up, I read The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, and that is the 3rd and final book in the Folk of the Air series. I don't know how to put this, but for me, the first book, The Cruel Prince, was so much better than the other 2. Did I wish I was in that world? Did I feel immersed in that world? No, certainly not, I didn't. I did enjoy it. The first book was a 5-star, the second one was a 4-star, and the third one was a 4-star again, though I would rate it more like 370, 380. That doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy the series. That doesn't mean that the aesthetics and the fan art is not amazing. I really like the aesthetics of the book, but I wish I had enjoyed it a little more. Next up, I read the new release from Colleen Hoover, and that is Reminders of Him. Jesus H. Roosevelt Christ! There hasn't been one book that this woman hasn't shaken me out of my seat. I don't know how she does it, but every book just destroys me physically, mentally, like every way possible. And this book was no exception. 5 stars, 10 stars, 20 stars for this book. It was incredible. It was I can't even begin to explain to you how amazing and emotional this book was, how smartly and realistically written it was. I can't. Oh god, I almost forgot. For every book you read, do check the trigger warnings before reading it so that you can actually enjoy every book you read. We've got a mother who just got out of prison after being convicted of murder, and she's in search of her daughter who was taken away from her the moment she was born. Okay, heartbreaking. Before you read anything, do check the trigger warnings to make sure that you enjoy every book you read. Next up, I read the first book from the Zodiac Academy series, The Awakening, and Jesus H. Roosevelt Christ. Again. I don't know how to explain this book, but the thing is that on Book Talk, it is described as a smutty Harry Potter, like a smutty version of Harry Potter. Kinda! I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure. So anyone who loves astrology, tarot, anything that has to do with zodiacs, I suppose, you'll definitely enjoy this book. It is spicy, again, not super spicy, I'd say. Again, trigger warning, there's bullying in this book. Basically, we follow these 2 girls who just came into the Zodiac Academy to take their thrones later as they learn to tame their powers. But the thing is that there are already possible heirs to the throne who actually hate the girls. So this is where the bullying starts. I can't say that I was absolutely amazed by the book, but on the other hand, I don't even have anything against it. It was not the best book I've ever read, but on the other hand, I think that this book has a lot of potential to get better. Next up, Jesus Christ, I finally finished The Bat by UNESCO, the first book in the Harry Hollis series. If only I had been a little smarter and a little more observant. So this is the Greek pocket edition of the book. Now there's this thing about UNESCO, and that is in the beginning, it feels like he's going really slow. You know, he gives you too much extra information, TMI, like, okay, I don't care about this, move on. But in the end, somehow this author manages to put together all this extra information and make it the solution to your problem, to the murder.
How did she do it?
Characters tell you random stories and too much TMI that you're probably not going to remember until the end of the book. But suddenly it all makes sense. Now, I held everyone accountable for the murder in this book. I was like, you are the murderer, you, and you, and you. But let's be honest, I didn't expect this person to be the murderer. So definitely I enjoyed this book, 4 stars. Next book I read was The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. Now this book was so hyped in book talks, so hyped. I did understand why it was hyped, but I can't say that I was completely blown away by the book. One problem I had with it is that I expected better from Callius. He's not what I would expect from a man. I liked Alessandra as a protagonist, as a female protagonist. We can't see too much of her bravery, but for a standalone, that was enough. I was satisfied and it was okay. Next up, I read the novella from the Zodiac Academy series, The Origins of an Academy Bully by Carolyn Peckham. This is the story of Orion, whom we see in the first book as a teacher of astrology, if I'm not mistaken. And that is his story. Like, it's 98 pages of his story, of his backstory. Nothing crazy, okay, I got it. That is his backstory, but you know, you can't really rate novellas like this. It's kind of really difficult because you just gain insight of a character, which you could have done actually as a plot twist at some point in the books. I believe that if the author used this piece of information somewhere in the books to explain why a character is really cold, really abrupt, really stiff, then I would get it. But, you know, when it's a novella like this... Okay, so now 2 days later, because I actually had to go to work and teach, and I didn't get the time to do this. So 2 days later, I'm going to be talking about my TBR for February. The first book that I'm actually currently reading is A Thousand Boy Kisses. This was a book that I started back in 2021 and I put it aside for a little bit because it just didn't catch my attention as much as I wanted it to. But today I was listening to it on my way to work and it kind of... it did something and it became interesting, and now I'm actually looking forward to reading it. So this is the first book that I would really like to read. So the first book that I'm also currently reading is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. Now this movie is being turned into... this book is being turned into a movie again this February. And before watching it, I would actually really like to read the book first. I've had a bit of a weird relationship with Agatha Christie because all the books that I had read back in high school from her left me kind of indifferent. So this one was actually recommended to me by a colleague at work, so I hope that it is actually worth the while and that I will enjoy the movie just as much. Next up, I hope that I can finally read In the Afterlife by Alexandra Bracken, the third book in the Darkest Mind series. So the next one is actually a reread that I've been hoping to do for a very long time, especially now that this book has been really hyped up on Book Talk again, and that is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I read this book probably 5-6 years ago, and who didn't cry with It Ends With Us, right? I do have a couple of annotations, which is quotes, obviously, and this book is just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Next up, this is actually a book that I have borrowed, so I need to read it in February, and that is The Third Girl by Agatha Christie. Another Agatha Christie book that I have no idea what it is about, but my cousin told me that this is actually a good one, and it's actually a good movie, so let's hope for the best. And last but not least, I got 2 books today. I know I promised myself that you don't need books right now. Okay, what if you move? Or how are you going to move all these books and everything? I know, but these were collector's edition with like 40 to 45% off discount. So those books are Six of Crows and The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, these, the light is kind of falling. These sides are also colored, and I just have no words. The crazy thing about this one is obviously the map, and that in the back you actually have illustrations of the characters, and Carsbreaker is just Bane, this one. Okay, so this is Cars, okay? This is a Nedge, come on, look at her. Also Wylan, oh my god. Come on now. Look at the Crooked Kingdom illustrations. Like, this is absolutely beautiful. I absolutely fell in love with this one. Although Six of Crows was the last book that I actually read in 2021. I read it in December. I don't remember a couple of details that I wish I remembered. So I'm going to be rereading Six of Crows to get to Crooked Kingdom. Why am I doing this? Because I'm afraid to get to Crooked Kingdom. Okay, let's be honest. Tell me what books you're going to be reading during February. Maybe I get some recommendations. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.
If I could take you up in boom, 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 tell me I'm the only